Hey guys, today I'm going to be playing Turok the Dinosaur Hunter on the Alienware Alpha, running Windows 10 with a Intel Core i7 4765T, and it's custom 860M GPU. And actually I got something for you guys to hear me rant about for a minute, and that is that the Alienware Steam machine is just not, like, the operating system, like SteamOS, is just not a good idea for the alpha. And I think that Alienware should just keep selling the alpha as it is until they somehow update SteamOS or something, because getting it to install was a huge pain in the ass. And I actually overrided all my files, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try SteamOS, and I'll see how it is, and then maybe I'll keep it and I'll figure out how to record on Linux. But first impressions were absolutely awful. I could not get the alpha to recognize the USB stick I had made, and I put SteamOS on it and all the install files were there. And I reformatted it several times. I tried like almost everything to get it to work, and then I comes to find out that it just because it was in a folder called it was like Steam OS download or install or something like that, because it was inside a folder, the alpha actually wasn't recognizing it. So I had spent like 2 hours for no reason just because it was in a folder. Now that is my fault. That wasn't actually Steam's fault, but it had just made me further frustrated with the whole situation. Then I'm like, yes, awesome, finally it's recognizing it. The install had started, and then I come to a prompt screen and it was like, oh well, make sure you have UEFI or something. I can't remember. It was like UEFI or something like that, and like on your BIOS enabled, and do you want to like format everything and just do a clean install? And well, the thing was, I couldn't move my mouse. Like, my mouse cursor was on the screen, but my mouse and keyboard wasn't working, and I could not figure out why. I just couldn't select anything. I couldn't continue with the install, but I had a mouse cursor, so it must have been recognizing my mouse for something. And so I had to go dig up some research, and lo and behold, SteamOS, for some reason, does not recognize my specific mouse and keyboard, because it doesn't recognize Logitech wireless mouse and keyboard. So if you are thinking about installing SteamOS on your alpha just to try it out or whatever, make sure you have a wired mouse and keyboard, because for some reason, I don't know why, it will not recognize it, so you can't continue with your install anyway. So, after that, I dug up an old ball mouse, like, you know, the mouses with the rubber balls in the bottom of them, and that took me like an hour to find, because I checked all my parts drawers, I was looking everywhere, could not find this thing, and then finally my brother found it in his room. He was just like, oh, I thought he actually... The funny thing was, he actually had seen it, but he thought I just wanted a keyboard, and all I really needed was the mouse to complete the install. So after he came in here and he's like, do you want to try a mouse? And I was like, yeah, I definitely, that's what I need. And he just told me, oh, well, I had that the whole time. So that was just like, it ended up taking me, like, for this whole process, like, 6 hours to get it installed, or something crazy. Actually, maybe it was like 5 hours, but I might be over-exaggerating, but it took a while. It was a huge pain. So, after that happened, I started to download my games, and I'm like, yeah, I'm liking this. It was a nice clean UI. It was pretty much like Steam Picture Mode. There was maybe a few differences, but the Steam Big Picture Mode on SteamOS seemed to run a little smoother. Like, it was a little bit more snappier. And also, my alpha actually boots up instantaneously. Like, instead of like when I used to boot up my alpha, it would show the BIOS splash screen twice before it would launch, and with SteamOS installed on the SSD, it would just skip the BIOS splash screen, or I would see it for like a split second, and it would boot into Windows. But now with SteamOS installed, it just went in, it booted up crazy fast, and was just loaded up into Steam Big Picture mode in like maybe 2 seconds. Like, it was that fast. But after I got the first game I was going to try, I was like, well, I'm going to try out Alien Isolation. I haven't played it in a while. I want to see how it runs, make sure everything's up and working. I got the latest GPU drivers installed with my alpha, everything seemed good. Well, I started to play Alien Isolation, and I noticed that I was getting some stutteriness in it, and it turned out to be my frame rate. My frame rate was really low, and I was like, what's going on? So I turned down some settings and see if I could get a better frame rate, and it was helping. But I was used to being able to play the game on Ultra and getting like 40, 50 FPS on Ultra settings, and if I just turn shadow mapping down, I can get a perfect lock 60 for the entire game. So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on, and it comes to find out that the games just run worse on Steam OS. Like, I was getting about 30 FPS less on the same settings, so I was getting about like 20-ish FPS on max settings when I used to get 40 to 50, which is absolutely terrible. I was actually like very disappointed, and so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just this game. Maybe it's just like there's a bug with my GPU drivers or something. And then I tried out Borderlands 2, and I couldn't even hit 60 FPS on medium settings. And I was able to run that game on ultra settings, and I think turn down, like, I think it was like my field of view a little bit, and again, like with shadows, and just like turn off physics, and I could get a perfect 60 FPS on like ultra settings with like 2 settings turned down. And I'm just sitting here wondering why is these games running horribly, and it turns out it's just SteamOS. And I did some research, I looked up videos about this, and it just runs a lot worse for some reason. Like 20 to 30 FPS differences in games. And it just seems like, why would you put an operating system on your machine that makes all the games run worse? Like, I know that the alpha was originally intended for SteamOS, but why would you want SteamOS if your games can't perform the way you expect them to? Because with the alpha, I can usually run 99.9% of the games on high settings, and either lock it at 30, or I can even hit 60 sometimes, depending on how well the game is optimized. But with SteamOS, I was having to put things on low settings. I now understand what Linus Tech Tips meant when they actually did a test on the Alienware Steam machine, and they're like, well, we're going to try it out, and we'll see how it performs. And I also encountered the same exact problem they had encountered when trying to log into your Steam account. Since how I have an underscore in my Steam login, I was unable to log in without a mouse and keyboard. So if you were to have, say, an underscore in your name for Steam, or at least in your user login or whatever, then you won't be able to sign into your own Steam account, which is a massive problem. So you need to have a mouse and keyboard for SteamOS. There's no option. There's no other option. And also, when you're installing it, you also require a mouse and keyboard. So make sure, if you got the alpha and you only have your controller, make sure you have at least a cheapo wireless mouse and keyboard. And be aware that games will perform like 30 FPS better or more on Windows than they will on Steam. But of course, everyone has their own preferences. I know I sound like I'm hating on SteamOS. Like, I liked how it looked and everything, like, the UI and everything was great. But the performance in the games was not worth having to switch over from Windows. So I stuck with Windows, and I actually stopped using the Alpha UI because of a bug that happens when it automatically signs you in. It will not let you log out of it unless you press Control-Delete on your keyboard to manually log yourself out instead of using the UI to log yourself out, and it's just a huge pain. So I just got done with the Alpha UI until I'm waiting till it's at least updated to where it works properly. I don't know if they're even still supporting it or not, but I'm definitely waiting until that is no longer an issue. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, yeah, like every game I tested, I got a lot worse performance. Like even BioShock Infinite, I could run it on medium low settings instead of, I don't know, if you saw my video, you would see that I can run that game on ultra just fine. So it's just not worth using SteamOS. Like, if you guys got the Steam machine and you're playing it and you're like, oh wow, my game is running great, well, you are missing out on performance because the alpha runs so much better on Windows 10. It's almost like it was made for Windows 10. Though I do hate that the driver updates and stuff, they break certain games or something sometimes. I actually made my own console mode profile on my alpha specifically set up so that it matches my case and everything. I have my QuakeCon case back on there, and it has like a QuakeCon logo in the background, and it automatically boots into Steam Big Picture mode when it's done booting up. And it takes like 2 seconds to boot into Windows when I have it set to auto login, and then Steam's the Steam updating thing is the only thing that makes it take a second. But with my SSD installed, that doesn't even take very long. Like maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, maybe 10 seconds total, and I'm into Steam Big Picture mode and I can get into gaming right away. So if you're considering getting the Steam machine, I know they're giving away free games, but if you have a way, like yeah, the Alienware Steam machine comes with free games. I can't remember which ones they are. I think one of them's like Coffin Dodgers and a couple others, and it's like they say it's like a $200 value. Now, but I would honestly consider getting the alpha. Now, there is a downside to the alpha. It's a cosmetic thing. I don't think the alphas that they sell have the Steam logo in the corner, and they just have that blank logo. I mean, I think the Steam logo looks really cool, and I was actually doing some research, seeing if I could find a way to, like, buy just the bottom part of the case, because the alpha actually has the light, like the middle circular light, for the Steam logo on the, like, on the LEDs down there on that corner. But I just can't, I don't have it because I just don't have that little, like, window thing to show the LED. So it's there, and it's possible to have, but I mean, I know it sounds silly, but I think it would look really cool. But, yeah, I got Steam Big Picture mode. It just boots up when I, start my alpha. And also, then you have to turn it to, you have to make it an admin account before it'll finish, like, booting up automatically. You have to go into your settings. It's a complicated process, but if you guys are interested in me showing you how to do that, because it actually took a learning curve for me to figure out, like a bit of a learning curve to figure out how to get it so that you would sign in automatically and then just boot into Big Picture mode instead of logging into the Alpha UI or the HiveMind interface. But I can show you guys if that's what you would like. And now I guess we can, now that I got that off my chest and I got let you guys know also, yeah, that I've just been playing PS4. That's where I've actually been. I haven't been on because I've been playing PS4. I actually have Fallout 4 on my PlayStation, and I've just been playing that on survival a lot, so I've just been distracted with that. And also work, I've had to fill in for a manager at my work, so I've been working double hours. So I haven't really had time to make videos anyway, and like by the time I come home, I just sit down, get on my PS4, and just like play Fallout for a couple hours and go to bed, then wake up, go to work. Now after we got all that talked about, I'm gonna talk about this game and how it runs in the alpha. It actually runs like amazing. Of course, like I mean, it's expected. This game is an N64 game, but there is a couple problems that I hope Night Dive is able to take care of eventually. There is invisible walls that block you from shooting things like that right there. Wait, where is it? I can't see it now. I can't even shoot it. It's like somewhere. Okay, well, it's not there now. I hit it a second ago, but there's like invisible walls in certain spots of the game. Once I get to level 2, it's a lot more noticeable. There's a couple of them. Yeah, I can get like I can just crank up all the settings and get like a maxed out 60 FPS or however. I don't think the frame rate goes higher than 60. But yeah, this game runs fine. Although for some reason there's a lot of aliasing on the reflections. I don't know if that's OpenGL's fault or if that's just how the game was designed. It's almost as if the reflections are in like 480p and then like the actual game is like in 1080. I don't know if that's just like a rendering bug or something like that. But yeah, this game runs great. There is a weird, the weird bugs are sometimes you can get stuck when you're climbing ledges. But I would actually highly recommend this game. This game has great controller support. It runs fine. It's just like a game you can sit down and chill out and just kill a whole bunch of monsters and dinosaurs and get this weird feather thing that makes things go in slow motion, so you're like tripping on acid and shooting everything. I think I picked one up, and I think you guys saw. I don't remember. I just kind of been playing through and talking to you. I've been playing this game since I was 3, so it's just more like second nature to me playing this. I can probably play this game with my eyes closed. But yeah, I'm gonna play through the rest of this level, and then I'll end the video there for you guys. Alright, well, you're just gonna be watching me play this for the rest, so I'm gonna turn off my mic. And you guys have a good one.